We are here with Wael Shawky for HYPER Annotations 3.0 triple ampersand public program. Wael, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Wael is the artist and curator of the Egyptian Pavilion at this year's Venice Biennale. Wael, so what's it like having this kind of double role, artist and curator?
Well, it happened actually because I've received the invitation in very late to present Egypt in the pavilion, and I felt it was really important for me to have the full control over the pavilion. And I asked the government if I can be also the curator of my show. They found that this is really up to me, so it was really important. I curated before shows in my school, my non-profit school in Alexandria Massacre. So I felt that it's not really far away from me to curate this show as well.
Yes. Can you please briefly introduce the contents of the pavilion and perhaps how they relate to the larger theme this year at the Biennale, which is foreigners everywhere?
Well, I tried this year to make something significant that really tackled the history of modern Egypt.
Yes.
And one of these important historical moments is in 1882, the Arabi Revolution, and also the British colony that happened in Egypt that lasted almost 70 years in Egypt. I feel that this year is really important because it presents hope that that this revolution was expecting. Of course, it was defeated completely, but I found that it's really also can translate
Yes.
the current political situation
Yes.
in the region.
Yes. And I want to ask you why this kind of milieu of 19th century Ottoman Egypt? Is there something about its aesthetics that was intriguing to you or important for you?
Yeah, it's mainly because of the idea of the change, the big change that happened in Egypt after this British colony. It started with the leader of the army, Ahmed Arabi, that he is trying to go against Khedive Tawfiq.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems from the story, because I thought it's very interesting to try to see the incidents that happened right before this occupation. I went to a very particular stories about before this occupation. What we see here that Arabi had this hope, but he didn't have enough support, and maybe he didn't have enough power. We see in the film a very important conference, for example, happening in Istanbul between all the big countries, which is including Great Britain, France, Italy, Germany, Russia, Austria, and Hungary. And in this conference, which is called the Asitana Conference, they were trying to make an agreement that nobody is going to occupy Egypt before the other. And also they felt that the Great Britain is planning to attack Egypt. So they were trying just to make sure that this is not really going to happen. But in the end, it happened anyway. It happened within 1 month. There is something about this story is, for many scholars, they believe that it was already staged by the British consulate in Alexandria.
Yes.
That there was a fight in the streets of Alexandria between a multi-man and a donkey man. A donkey man is someone has a donkey that transports people from one place to another. And in this fight, the multi-man stabbed the Egyptian man and killed him. And from this incident, a big fight happened in the streets of Alexandria that led into the killing of almost 300 persons. Most of them are Egyptians. Some of them were what we call them foreigners, which were of course, foreigners means that some of them were British also, and Maltese. And in that case, that was the real excuse for Great Britain to say, okay, now we have to protect
Yes.
our subjects in Egypt. And that's when they bombarded Alexandria. Only 1 month after this incident, that it's called Alexandria Massacre, they bombarded Alexandria. Some of this thing, as I said, it has the sense of being staged. That's why I decided to make it like a play, like a performance on a stage, and then film it cinematically.
Yes, yes. And so there's a film and there are several pieces. Can you tell us about the relationship they have with each other, the film and these different pieces?
Yes, the film, if you look at the film, you see that the music and the scenography and every element in the film is not really secondary, or it's not really only a background. Each element is extremely important. In some of the scenes, the scenography itself is moving with the performers. So the idea for me is to try to make each one as important as the other in the whole film. And when you look at the exhibition, I also had the same idea, is to try even to make these vitrines sort of sometimes have these expressions through the designs. That
Yes.
Sometimes you feel it's even vicious.
Yes.
And sometimes they have legs and they are moving, and all of these different ways of working with these objects. All the objects that you see to the sides, for me, they are more related to the delicate elite craft
Yes.
that belongs to the royal family and the relationship with the Ottoman Empire and the British colony.
Yes.
While what we see in the middle of this, in the center of this, which is this big mud structure, it's more about the agricultural society, which is actually most of the population.
Yes.
So it's more about hierarchy and how to try to connect this environment when we are sitting
Yes.
in it and looking at the film, that it's also talking about this type of hierarchy.
Yes. So in the film, architecture seems to play a sort of central role, or set design, shall we say? But also, if I'm not mistaken, both in the works in the pavilion, but also your previous works, architecture seems to play a sort of central role, perhaps even landscapes. Can you say a few things about this?
Yes, absolutely. The architecture for me is also a big part of any exhibition I make. For example, most of my films are completely musical, and I feel that part of turning the architecture of the space by even making walls sometimes that the audience are going through, it's already by itself can tell part of the history by separating the space, by trying to deal with the material of the walls itself. So in this case, I think part of the scenography was also trying to play as a painting, and all the performers inside on the stage, they were like they looked like elements of this painting. So as I said, each thing was really as equal. And even the colors of their suits has to do with the colors of the scenography.
Yes.
At the same time, and it's so
Yes.
architecture is already embedded in this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And I think both here and and also your previous work, there's this tendency for architecture and animal and human bodies to sort of meld, or to look like one another.
Yes.
Would you say so? And yes, can you tell me a little bit about this also, if you can?
The animals.
Animals and humans, because I think you have these sort of spider legs inside.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, but because what is happening, that most of my work is already. First, I try to make it to make drawings, sort of storyboard. I cannot say that it's really strict ones, but they are storyboard. Yes.
Yes.
And when I look at the drawings, that most of the time it's really the movement and the actions are translated through figures that partially human, partially animals and insects and all of this.
Yes.
So this time when I was like really thinking of how to translate the idea of the agricultural society in Egypt through making the structure, the mud structure, it was a way to try to make this hermit crab that is in the middle, that it looks like a village with these two pigeon houses. That I also worked a lot with this idea of the pigeon houses before, and how to try to give the sense that it's still also like trying to sneak from in the middle of the pavilion, and you see this in the drawings also. I think it's also very connected to it.
Yes. So the film is a sort of musical, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you feel in touch with the sort of rich history of Egyptian cinema and Egyptian musicals at all, or is there no connection you feel?
Of course there is connection, absolutely. Yes. There is connection, mainly with music actually, maybe not with cinema. I compose my music, and I don't know if it's really, I mean, I'm not sure if it's really even have one source that I go to sometimes. I'm sure it's really connected to many different sources, and even sometimes because I made many projects that has to do with the Gulf music, like Fijeri music, for example, from Bahrain or from Qatar or from Sultanate Oman or from Yemen or from Saudi. All these different types of music I'm really connected to, and I worked with it before. So, and of course I'm more connected to the Egyptian music, but in the end it's I think it's just something different. I don't know how to describe it.
Of course. So yeah, we like to end things with a sort of light question. So I wanted to ask you, are there any pavilions or shows or perhaps just venues that you're really excited to see, or ones that you saw that you thought were good or notable?
Unfortunately, since we started the pavilion, I was captured here. Most probably starting tomorrow, I will be able to go to see the rest of the Biennale, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Wael.
Thank you so much.